Hey, what's up YouTube fam? It's Ben here. Welcome back to another flow. As always, we got new classes here every Wednesday and every Sunday, so please feel free to subscribe if you've been enjoying the energy around here. With that being said, today's class is going to be more mellow. It's going to be really opening, especially in the hips and the hamstrings. We're going to stay relatively low to the mat using our foundations of our hands and feet to create really nice, strong opening stretches and movements throughout the body. So we will be flowing, we will be moving from the top to the back of our mat and creating some energy, but it will be pretty low key for y'all. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started in a child's pose. Sending your knees wide, big toes together behind you, grounding the hips down toward the heels, stretching the arms out in front of you, and maybe releasing your forehead down to the mat. Feel gravity begin to weigh on you as the chest lowers closer to the thighs. And just start to find your breath. Feel the palms stretching out in front of you. Notice how that opens the shoulders. Notice how each time you take a breath in and then take a deep breath out, you can release some tension and relax in the shoulders as the body continues to settle. Allow the breath to create calmness in the mind. Anytime you start worrying or stressing about something or a thought wanders to some point in the future, just use the breath to come back to the present moment, to be in whatever experience the body is currently going through. And simply having kindness for ourselves because we made it onto the mat today. So take a deep breath in and a deep breath out, and then rise up into a tabletop position. When you reach your tabletop, take a couple circles with the shoulders over the wrists, moving smoothly, not in any rush to get anywhere. And then as you're ready, switch directions. Noticing what parts of the hands and fingertips are pressing into the mat. And bringing some nice space between the fingertips here. And then once you feel complete in your circles, turn the palms back. Fingertips will face toward the knees. Take some rocks forward and back. Thumbs are facing out toward the side. And if this feels intense for you, you can always go one hand at a time. Good. Release the hands to face forward, and then we'll flip one palm at a time. So I'm going to take my left hand, flip the palm so the back of the hand presses down. And then a few options here. It's really just a nice wrist stretch. So you can bunch up the hand into a fist and then expand the fingertips and kind of just compress and expand. Or you could just keep it in the fist shape and just press different parts of your wrist and hand into the mat, and notice what that sensation feels like in the wrist. All those nerve groups and muscle groups in the wrists, and they're so important in our yoga practice. And as you feel ready, we'll switch to the other hand. Again, top of the palm or back of the hand presses down. You can bunch up the fingertips and expand, or you can just press the weight around in different ways. If anything feels painful, then ease out of it. Do your best to kind of stay out of the pain range for now. But if something feels good and curious, then feel free to explore further. And then, as you're ready, we'll release that hand to face forward like normal, and then start rolling through some cat-cows. I won't cue us to the breath today. You could just move at your own pace between these two shapes. Just rounding the spine and pressing away as we exhale, and then dropping the belly and curling the chest forward as we inhale. If you want to close your eyes, feel free. First, notice how your breath is. Try to breathe a little bit deeper and fuller. And then simply assess the speed of your movements according to your breath. So if your breath feels nice and slow and steady, then make your movements slow and steady. If your breath is more quick or fast-paced, then maybe move a little bit more fast-paced. This opportunity to link the breath with the movement is a great way to connect mind and body, a great way to be present and to just tune into the different sensations and signals that we're constantly getting from our body. And then as you're ready, let's find a downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back. Start to press down through your heels and then shift the weight around. You can bend one knee then the other. As you see on the screen, I'm kind of just freely shifting side to side. Helps me create space. Helps me kind of notice where I'm feeling tight or tense today and where I'm feeling relatively open as I begin my practice. So we're in this nice, strengthening, and challenging shape. We have 4 points of contact, so notice what the right hand and left hand are doing. Try to press down equally. And the same thing with the right foot and left foot. Just like in table, bring space between the fingertips. Feel those fingers gripping the mat like suction cups. Using the whole hand, not just dumping the weight into the base of the wrists. And then look out in front of you between the palms. Rise up high onto your toes, bend the knees, send the hips back in space. And then as you spring forward, take a bunch of little steps, walk the feet up to the hands, forward, fold. When you get to your forward fold, there's an option to take ragdoll, simply clasping opposite elbows and letting the shoulders hang loose, soft bend in the knees, swaying side to side. If you'd like a more energetic shoulder stretch here, which is what I'll do, there's also an option to clasp the hands behind the low back and then lift the palms overhead to stretch out the shoulders. You can feel the shoulder blades kind of coming closer together on the back body, but also working that contrast of motion as the chest falls down to the mat and as the wrists lift overhead. Wherever you're at, we still have time for about 5 or 6 deep breaths here. So find the calmness, find the balance of this pose, and again, working the foundations. Where are you pressing down through your feet? Where's the autopilot? If you're in the shoulder stretch bind, go ahead and release the hands down. If you're in ragdoll, go ahead and release the hands down. Just allow the arms to lazily dangle down toward the mat. Bend your knees enough so that the hands can just rest there without any effort. And then we'll drive through the feet as we bend the knees a lot and roll up to standing one vertebrae at a time, eventually reaching an upright standing positions. Palms blossom open, shoulders relax away from the ears as we stand up tall. Having gratitude for this moment, for this movement. Having gratitude for finding a little bit of self-love right now. Knowing that no matter what, you are beautiful. Take a deep breath in, lift the hands up to the sky. Exhale, fold, forward, hinge at the hips. Inhale, halfway lift, extend the spine forward. Maybe lift the hands up to the legs. And then on your next exhale, release that and fold forward. From here, step the right foot back, step the left foot back, downward facing dog. Shift the weight around, bend one knee, then the other. Settle back into your down dog shape. Again, moving at a much more mellow pace today, so really embracing these slow, mindful movements. Look out in front of you. Rise up onto your toes. Bend your knees a lot as the belly comes closer to the thighs. And then as you spring forward, take a bunch of little steps. Walk the feet up to the hands. Forward fold. From this forward fold, bring your feet wider, about mat's width distance apart. The feet will face or point out towards the sides, kind of at a 45-degree angle. And then bend your knees as much as you need to palm the hands on the mat. Then drop the hips all the way down into a malasana squat. So I'm going to grab my blocks and just place them by the sides of my mat because we're going to go into some lunges and I'm feeling very tight today, so I'm going to use the blocks. They are definitely not required by any means. All you need is yourself and a mat or even a carpet or something. And if you're looking for a good place to get some nice cheap blocks, just let me know in the comments and I can recommend something. But for now, just swaying side to side in this malasana squat. If this feels uncomfortable or too much for you, you could just take any sort of cushion or block and place it underneath your hips for something to sit on. But if you're in the regular malasana squat, just feel the hips steadily open as the elbows land inside the knees. As you sway side to side, maybe your knees kind of rotate side to side and notice what kind of opening that creates in the hips. And we'll just be here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring your hands down to the mat. From here, the right foot is going to stay forward and we're going to take a big step back with the left foot. And then drop down to the left knee into this kind of wider lizard lunge. From here, we're going to untuck the left toe so the top of the left foot presses down. We're going to twist the right hand up to the sky. Twisted lizard lunge. Feel not only the stretch in the front of your left hip, but also the chest starting to open. Beautiful. From here, we'll rotate into a high horizons lunge. So we're going to roll onto the outer blades of our right and left foot as we kind of twist the right hand further back behind us. So the right knee is going to be opening and gently pressing out toward the right side of our mat to open that hip further. Finding the lift, the twist, and the opening. Take one more breath in. And as you exhale, bring it back down to that low lunge. Both hands land inside of the right foot. So now we're just back in this lizard lunge, reaching our heart forward, settling a little bit deeper in. So take a breath in here. And then as you breathe out, find a version of half splits, straightening out in some capacity in the right leg. Hips are pulling back, heart is pulling forward. I like to rise onto my fingertips or use blocks here. That way I'm not dumping much weight into my hands as if my full palms were down on the mat. But we'll take a few breaths here. You can rotate the weight around in any way. Sometimes it can feel good to roll around in the right ankle socket as well. Settle into the right hamstring and what kind of space is it in there. Take a couple more deep breaths. Good. And we'll start to ease out of this shape by bending back into the right knee and coming back forward into that low lizard lunge. From here, twist the right hand up to the sky again, and this time we're going to take a bend into our left knee as we kick the left heel back toward the glute. Reach the right hand back toward the left foot. Maybe you catch the bind here and use that to deepen the quad stretch in the left leg. Maybe you don't catch the bind and you can still just work the twist and have the intention of making that connection. But regardless of where you're at, just settle into this twist and stretch. Again, I know we've been in these lunges on the right side for quite a while, but what I like about these slower classes is we really have the time to pause and explore some of these shapes a little bit deeper. So if it feels uncomfortable to hold these lunges for a while, then maybe just ask why. If it's uncomfortable, then maybe ease out of it by a few millimeters, and maybe then it'll feel sustainable to hold for longer. There's value when we can find some ease and comfort in a shape long enough that we want to stay in. It shows resilience. It shows that we're tuning in and learning more about ourselves than if we were to just rush through the practice. Anyways, start to release this bind if you're holding on. Return the right hand down to the mat. So we're back in our standard lizard lunge. We're going to tuck the left toes, lift the left knee off the mat, coming into this higher lizard lunge. Reach the heart forward as we drive through the hands. And then we're going to take a big step forward with the left foot. So left foot steps forward outside of the left hand, and we come back to our malasana squat. Sway the weight side to side. Another variation, if this feels very hard for you, is just to lift the hips up a little bit so that it's not as deep of a shape. From here, plant your hands on the mat and we'll straighten the legs as we send the hips up to the sky and fold the heart forward. Again, take some moments to sway side to side here, shifting the hips from the left to right. Allowing both legs to expand, allowing any effort to evaporate for the next few breaths. Find a halfway lift, extend the spine forward in some capacity, and then release the fold. Start to bend into the knees again and return to your malasana squat. Hands are firmly down on the mat. The left foot is going to remain forward. We'll take a big step back with the right leg and then drop down to the right knee. Bring the hands inside of the left foot. Release to the top of your right foot. Be here for a moment. And then we'll work into our high horizons lunge as we twist the left hand up to the sky. And then come onto the outer blades of the left and right foot as we twist open and gently press the left knee out toward the left side of our mat. Take a few breaths into the new space. The left hand can be reaching up. The left hand can maybe even be reaching behind you if that helps you build a foundation. Take one more breath here. And as you exhale, release this and return back to our lizard lunge. Right knee drops down to the mat. Reach the heart forward. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, send the hips back in space for this modified half splits. And the only thing that makes this different than a regular half splits is that our left foot is still in a kind of wider stance outside of the left hand. And then from here, you can rise onto your fingertips. You can use any props. And as we'll gently kind of just fold our chest lower to the mat while still maintaining some integrity in the spine. Again, maybe you hop onto the fingertips to ensure engagement. Find something that feels comfortable for you as we'll hold it for another 3 breaths or so. And then from here, we'll start to bend into the left knee, bringing it forward into this low lunge. Start to reach the heart forward. And then we'll twist the left hand up to the sky one more time. As we do that, bend the right knee and maybe reach the left hand back for the left foot for the bind. Again, you don't necessarily have to complete the bind to feel a really nice stretch here. Regardless of where you're at, feel all of these forces working together. The twisting in the spine, the opening in the heart, the opening in the left hip, reaching back to stretch out the right quad, almost every part of the body, driving through the right hand to create space. And then the most important part, the breath. Again, taking our time here, not in any rush to find such a deep stretch, just going at the pace of our body. We'll take one more deep breath in and a deep breath out to release this twist. Both hands come down to the mat inside of the left foot. We'll tuck the right toes, lift the right knee off the mat. Find a little bit of buoyancy, lean the heart forward. And then this time we will take a step back with the left foot to the right foot and make our way into downward facing dog. Hips lift up and back, heels ground down to the mat. Again, bring space between the fingertips, grip the mat. Feel solid in your foundation. Knowing that we're stable, we're safe, we're strong. Take a few breaths here. Notice the chest pressing toward the thighs with ease. Breathe into anywhere that feels particularly tight in this shape. For some it might be the shoulders, for some it might be the backs of the legs. There's no right or wrong answer. And then from downward facing dog, we'll lift the right leg up to the sky, three-legged dog. Bend at the right knee and open through the right hip by stacking the right hip on top of the left. Take some movement in your right hip, some circles. And then we'll close it off, come back through 3-point, square off the hips. And then take a big step right foot to the outside of the right hand. Come down to the left knee for lizard lunge. Hands down to the mat, reach the heart forward. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, find half splits. Straighten out the right leg. Feel the hips pull back as the heart reaches forward. Maybe this time we can fold a little bit deeper. Also noticing the new space the second round time through this sequence. And start to bring it forward. Come through your low lizard lunge, and then reach the right hand up to the sky. We'll find a high horizons lunge. Roll onto the outer blades of the right and left foot. Feel the right knee gently pressing out toward the right side of the mat. Right shoulder leans back. Create space. Take a breath in. As you exhale, left knee returns to the mat. Stay in your twist as we bend the left knee. Reach back, right hand toward the left foot. Maybe you hook the bind, maybe you don't. Either way, feel into the quad stretch in the left leg. Feel into the opening in the heart. Take a few breaths. And we'll start to release this. Right hand comes back down to the mat. Left toes land on the mat behind you. Tuck the left toes, lift the left knee high off the mat. Lean the heart forward, and we'll take a big step forward, left foot to right, or to match the right foot rather, as it lands outside of the left hand. Rise up into your malasana squat. Palms come to heart center. Gently press the hips open with the elbows. Rock side to side. And then we'll bring the hands down to the mat, straighten the legs as we drive through the feet, lifting the hips and releasing the chest down. Take some big sighs out here. If you feel any holding on in the shoulders, neck, or jaw, try to soften in these areas. Find a halfway lift. Extend the spine forward in some capacity. And then fold, release that. Hands land down to the mat. Again, point the toes out toward the side a little bit, and then we'll just sink the hips down into our Malasana squat. Keeping the hands rooted on the mat, we'll keep the left foot forward and then step the right foot back, landing in our low lizard lunge as the right knee drops down to the mat. Reach the heart forward. Take a breath in here. And as you exhale, straighten the left leg, half splits. Hips pull back, hands reach forward. Find a deeper fold over the left hamstring. Breathing into new space here. Feeling the energy settle. Feeling the calmness. Working the yin. And then we'll start to release, bending into the left knee, bringing the weight forward into our low lizard lunge. And then we'll twist the left hand up to the sky, high horizons lunge. Roll onto the outer blades of the left and right foot. Feeling the left knee press out toward the side as we twist open. Turn back through the left shoulder. Take a deep breath in. And as we exhale, keep the twist. Drop the right knee down to the mat. Hug the right heel in toward the right glute, and then maybe hook the bind. Find your version of this quad stretch. And as you'll see on the screen, like in most poses, when I land here, I really like to rock the weight around and see what kind of space and energy that can create in my body. Especially when I'm feeling tight at the beginning of my practice, finding dynamic movements instead of holds in a completely still position can be really nice for me. And again, still essentially the same pose, but by shifting the weight around and exploring the dimensions of it, I'm able to learn. I'm able to explore, notice what feels good, notice what feels bad, notice what creates strength, what creates tension. But either way, we'll all release. As the left hand returns to the mat, the right toes return to the mat. Tuck the right toes, lift the right knee off of the mat. Lean the chest out in front of you and take a big step forward. Right foot lands to the outside of the right hand. Bring the hands up to the heart, Malasana squat, shift the weight around. Bring the hands down to the mat, drive through the feet to lift the hips up to the mat, straightening the legs and releasing the chest for a forward fold. Again, stay nice and low to the mat today. Sometimes it feels very grounding when there's not as many standing poses, when we're able to focus on our foundation and really just let the formations of our body create stretches that feel natural for us. Find a halfway lift in some capacity, reaching the heart forward. And then release that down into a fold. Palm the mat, come into your Malasana squat. From your Malasana, lift the hips up a little bit, tiny bit higher. We'll step the left foot back and the right foot back and find our downward facing dog. And feeling the heels root down, feeling that each time we land back here, there's a little bit more space. It requires a little bit less effort to find comfort in this shape. We're going to continue to build on those shapes and then find a little bit more energy and keep rising a little bit further off of the mat, building from the ground up today. But first, look out in front of you. Lift the left leg up to the sky. Bend at the left knee. Stack the left hip on top of the right. Feel the opening. And then find a little bit of movement in the left hip. Roll the knee around. And then close it off. Square off at the hips and then take a big step left foot to the outside of the left hand. Look out in front of you and then take a big step right foot to the outside of the right hand. Rise up into your Malasana squat. While the chest rises, the hips sink. Shift the weight around. And then bring your hands back down to the mat. Lean forward. Bring the weight onto the right foot and then float the left foot to the back of the mat. Drop the left knee down to the mat. Reach the heart forward, top of the left foot presses down. And then straighten the right leg, send it back to half splits. And again, third time we're landing here, so really take the time to deepen this one and see where we can take it. A few more deep breaths, being here. And looking out in front of you, starting to release by bending into the right knee, reaching forward, lifting the right hand up to the sky, rolling onto the outer blades of the right and left foot. High horizons lunge, feel the right knee gently pressing out toward the right side and then opening through the right shoulder. Take a breath in. As we breathe out, drop down to the left knee, hug the left foot in toward the left glute, and then reach the right hand back for the bind. Again, maybe you bind, maybe you don't. Either way, work into the stretch. And this is where we'll start to expand on the sequence. So release the left foot if you are binding. Keep the right hand twisted up to the sky. Tuck the left toes, lift the left knee off the mat, revolve side angle. Again, building on the energy, lifting the weight a little bit higher off the mat this time. Twist. Take a breath in and a breath out. We're going to replace the left hand with the right hand and come into side angle pose as we dial the left heel down to the mat and twist the left hand up toward the sky. So feel that contrast there as we completely revolve that shape. And now is a time where you can modify your side angle if you'd like to. So this is a little bit deep for me to reach my right hand all the way down to the mat. So I'm going to grab a block and place it out in front into the outside of my right foot, allowing that to create more space in my right side body especially. Another variation is to simply bring your right elbow to your right knee. Again, the purpose of these variations is to allow more spaciousness so we can work through the strength in the foundation rather than crunching and creating too much effort or discomfort where there doesn't need to be. We have to reach and meet our bodies where we are. In whatever version of this shape you're in, reach the left hand further overhead. Allow that to create a long line of tension between the left foot and left fingertips. Take a deep breath in, a deep breath out. We're going to start to straighten our right leg into triangle pose, Trikonasana. So the right hand can rest down on a block. It can rest down on the mat if you have the availability in your hamstring, or the right hand can rest on your right shin and use that as a kind of support stand. Pressing the hips forward, using that to open as we lean the left shoulder back. Really exaggerate the movements here as long as it feels safe. It can even feel good to reach the left hand overhead. Elbow comes closer to the ear. Take one more deep breath in and a deep breath out. We'll start to release this by folding over the right leg for modified pyramid pose. I enjoy hopping my left foot out to the side and up a little bit, so feet are on railroad tracks. Hips are doing their best job to square forward as we gently fold over the right shin. Another great place for blocks. You can bring as much of a bend into your right knee as you need to. And finding that fold, a little bit of rounding in the spine is okay, but trying to at least keep enough energy in the core and spine that makes it safe, that we're not dumping weight down. Everything is intentional here. Take a few deep breaths. Make your way from here into a downward facing dog, stepping the right foot back, taking a bunch of little steps, whatever you need to find your nice down dog shape. Reach the right leg up to three-legged dog. Take a big step, right foot outside of right hand. Lean the chest forward. And then take a big step, left foot to the outside of the left hand. Sink the hips, lift the chest for your Malasana squat. Shift the weight side to side. Hands come down to the mat. Drive through the feet to straighten the legs. Hips send up, heart sends down. Shift the weight left to right. Take a halfway lift, extend the spine in some capacity. Then exhale, fold, and release. Bring the hands down to the mat, sink the hips a little bit lower. We'll keep the left foot in front, and then send the right leg to the back of the mat. Drop down to the right knee, and then release the top of the right foot to press down. From here, we'll lean forward as we breathe in, and then send the hips back as we breathe out for a version of half splits. Again, using this time and this availability to find a deeper expression of this pose, whatever that means to you. Somewhere that feels like a stretch, but somewhere that also feels easeful, that you have no problem breathing fully into. And sometimes that's how we can notice we're too deep or too far into a pose, is when we're having trouble breathing or when we feel constricted in any way. We'll start to release. Bring the weight forward into your lizard lunge, and then we'll twist the left hand up to the sky. Find high horizons lunge, rolling onto the outer blade of your right foot and left foot as we gently press the left knee out to the side and twist open. Take a breath in. As we breathe out, drop the right knee to the mat, hug the right heel in toward the glute, reach the left hand back for the bind. And find some comfort here. You can work in toward your stillness. You can shift the weight around. Be open, be free, be willing to explore. Take one more deep breath in. And deep breath out, start to release. So we'll keep the right hand down, left hand up, and then we'll tuck the right toes, lift the right knee for revolved side angle. So feeling the energy build a little bit. Reach the left hand up. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Look down at your right hand. Replace the right hand with the left. Dial the right heel down to the mat as we twist the right hand open to completely shift the perspective. Use any props that you want to find opening, or maybe bring your left elbow to your left knee to create additional space in the side bodies. Reach the right hand overhead, allow that to create space in the right side body. And I know I'm using the phrase create space so much during this class because that's really my intention. A lot of times when we're overworked or when we are immobile for too long, the tightness is created, the muscles contract, and we can feel like we lose range of motion. So working toward the openness is kind of working to contrast all of that. But either way, we'll start to release out of this pose. But we'll do that by straightening the left leg and working our way into a triangle pose, Trikonasana. Opening through the hips as we gently press them forward and then lean the right shoulder back. Maybe even reaching the right hand overhead. And taking a few breaths. One more deep breath in here. As we exhale, we'll fold over the left shin and find our pyramid pose. So again, I like to hop my right foot up and out to the side a little bit and then do my best to square the hips forward as I fold. Another great place for blocks, but they are definitely not required. Feel the hips pulling back, hinging at the waist. Take some deep breaths here. Continually soften, continually deepen. Take a deep breath in. And a big sigh out. Release the hands down to the mat and then step the left foot back to the right, downward facing dog. Shift the weight around. Again, each time we land here, taking a little body scan, and a little evaluation. Man, words are hard today. Look out in front of you. Lift the left leg up to three-legged dog. Then take a big step, left foot outside of left hand. Reach the heart forward, and then take a big step, right foot outside of right hand. Sink the hips, lift the chest, malasana squat. Rock the weight side to side. Bring the hands down to the mat. Straighten the legs as we send the hips up. Chest releases down. Find a halfway lift. Extend the spine forward in some capacity. And then fold to release. Hands down to the mat. Bring a bend into the knees. Sink the hips a little bit deeper. We'll keep the right foot forward and then take a big step back with the left leg. Just building a little tiny bit more pace and rhythm here. So reach the heart forward, take a breath in, and then exhale, straighten the right leg for half splits. Fold deeply. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Start to release, shift the weight forward, and reach the right hand up to the sky, high horizons lunge, roll onto the outer blades of the right and left foot. Feel the right knee press out to the side. Take a breath in. Breath out, drop the left knee down, and then reach the right hand back for the quad stretch. Maybe you bind, maybe you don't. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Release the left foot down to the mat, tuck the left toes, lift the left knee. Keep twisting the right hand up to the sky, revolve side angle. Look down toward your left hand. Let's replace the left hand with the right as we roll and rotate open into our side angle pose. Make any adjustments that you need to settle into this shape. Reach forward, take a breath in. Take a breath out. Start to straighten your right leg and find your Trikonasana triangle pose. Work into the new space. Feel the right hip and hamstring continue to open, and even feel the left side body continue to open. One more breath in. And as we breathe out, pyramid pose. Hop the left foot up into the side and then fold over the right shin. Everything softens. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Release the hands down to the mat and step back to your downward facing dog. Feel the hips pull back, hands reach forward. Again, pushing the chest closer to the thighs. New space every time we land. Reach the right foot up to the sky, three-legged dog, and then step right foot outside of right hand. Lean the heart forward. Step left foot outside of left hand. Sink the hips, lift the chest into our malasana. Shift the knees side to side, shift the hips side to side. Bring the hands down to the mat. Press through the heels, lift the hips up, straighten the legs, and release the chest down. Find a halfway lift. Heart reaches forward in some capacity. Release and fold. Start to bend into the knees a little bit more, sink in the hips. And we'll keep the left foot forward and step the right foot back as we drop the right knee down to the mat. Reach the heart forward. And then straighten the left leg, send the hips back in space. Take a couple breaths. Start to pull forward and release out of this half splits. Twisting the left hand up to the sky, finding high horizons lunge, rotating onto the outer edges of the right and left foot, pressing the left knee out toward the side. Take a breath in and a breath out. We'll release the right knee down to the mat and then kick the right heel back to the glute. Maybe reach the left hand back for that bind. Take a few breaths in your version of this quad stretch. Explore new space. Maybe even roll the right forearm down to the mat to kind of deepen the stretch, especially in the left hip. Take a deep breath in. And then exhale. Release the right foot to the back of the mat. Revolved side angle. Left hand keeps twisting up as we lift the right knee off of the mat. Feel this new energy. Take a breath in and out. Look down at your right hand. We'll replace the right hand with the left as we twist the right hand up to the sky. Work into your variation of side angle pose. Take a breath in and a breath out. Start to straighten your left leg into Trikonasana. Hips press forward. Twist the right shoulder open. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Release. Fold over the left shin. Square off the hips. Fold forward into your modified pyramid. Breathe. Take one breath in, one breath out. Palm the mat. Step back to your downward facing dog. We'll go through one more time, y'all, and then we'll break it down with some final stretches. Look forward. Inhale, lift your left leg up to the sky, three-legged dog. And then take a big step, left foot outside of left hand. Lean the heart forward. Take a big step, right foot outside of right hand. Sink the hips, lift the chest into your Malasana squat. Rotate the hips from side to side. Hands down to the mat, drive through the feet, straighten the legs, and release the heart down for a forward fold. Halfway lift, extend the heart and spine in some capacity. Fold and release. Hands down to the mat, bring a bend into the knees, sink back down in toward your Malasana squat. The right foot is going to remain out in front. We'll take a big step back with the left foot. Drop the left knee down for our lizard lunge or lean the heart forward. Maybe even drop down to your forearms for the last round here. Either way, come back onto your palms and then straighten the right leg for half splits. One more time here. See how deep we can get into this stretch while still maintaining some ease and some fullness of breath. Release, start to come forward. As you do come forward, twist the right hand up to the sky. High horizons lunge as we rotate onto the outer blades of our right and left foot, twisting our right knee out to the side and lifting up through the heart. Take a breath in. Breath out. Drop the left knee down to the mat. Kick the left heel back to the glute as we twist and revolve open. Maybe catching the bind into this twisted lunge. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Release the left toes down to the mat. Lift the left knee as we keep twisting the right hand up to the sky, revolved side angle. Take a breath in. Breath out, look down. Replace the left hand with the right hand. Open up as we revolve left hand up to the sky, dialing down onto the left heel. Reach left hand overhead. Breathe. Take one more inhale, and then an exhale. Straighten out the right leg. Find your version of Trikonasana. Again, last time here, so see where you can take it, where the new space is. Maybe there's a little bit more ease or comfort here. And so now we finally have that room to explore, whereas the first or second time we're here, we're just sort of creating the space available. Take a deep breath in. A deep breath out. Let's release this and fold over the right shin. Pyramid pose, hop the left foot up and out to the side. Find that gentle fold. Left hip pulls forward, right hip pushes back. Release as much as you can. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out, hands release to the mat. Step back to your downward facing dog. Look out in front of you. We'll lift the right foot up to the sky, three-legged dog. And then step the right foot outside of the right hand. Lean the heart forward. Then step left foot outside of left hand. Sink the hips, lift the heart, Malasana squat. Shift, weight around. Beautiful movements, y'all. Hands down to the mat, press through the feet, lift the hips up to the sky as we release the heart into a fold. Halfway lift in some capacity. Fold forward, start to bend into the knees. Release the hips down a little bit. We'll keep the left foot forward, step the right foot back, drop the right knee down. For this low lizard lunge, option to stay on the hands again or maybe even down to the forearms just for 1 or 2 breaths. Hands come back up to the mat, straighten the left leg in whatever capacity for your half splits. Again, last time here, take it a little bit deeper. Notice where you can go. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Start to shift the weight forward. Come through your low lunge and then twist the left hand up to the sky, high horizons lunge, rotate onto the outer blades of the feet. Press the left knee out to the side, open up. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, drop the right knee down, bring the right heel toward the glute, and then twist open into your lunge. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Release the right toes to the mat. Lift the right knee. Twist the left hand up to the sky. Revolve side angle. Take another deep breath in. And then look down. Replace the right hand with the left and open up into your side angle. Make any adjustments that you need. Become long in the right side body. Reach forward. Then straighten the left leg. Come into your triangle pose. Finding your fullest expression here. Take a breath in. Breath out. Release and fold over the left shin. Hop the right foot up and out to the side for your modified pyramid pose. Find the softness. Release in the upper body here. Hands come down to the mat. Step back to your downward facing dog. From down dog, look out in front of you. No 3-point this time. We'll just take a step forward with the right foot and come into your version of half pigeon. Half pigeon can also look like a 90-90 shape or deer pose. If this is nice for you, you do that just by bringing a nice bend into the back leg. But for a regular half pigeon, we would extend the left leg out behind us. And you don't need any props for this at all, but I like to bring a little cushion or bolster underneath my right hip here because it helps bring the ground up to me. I'm very tight in that part of my body, so that allows me to feel more comfortable so I can sit up and feel a little bit more freedom and range of motion. It allows me to bring my right shin a little bit more parallel to the mat. But wherever you're at, we have plenty of time here, at least a full minute, so settle into this shape. Again, you can kind of openly shift around a little bit, and then once you feel deeper and a little bit safer, you can fold down and hold for longer. You can really just go wherever you'd like to take it for the next minute. As long as we're breathing, we're doing it right. Emphasize the softness, the yin. Focus not on creating the deepest stretch possible. Focus on creating the most release of tension possible. And they're different because, in my opinion, the tension release is more subtle, and the deep stretch is more active and forceful. We'll have time for a few more deep breaths. And then wherever you're at, start to ease up and release out of this shape. I'm going to place my bolster off to the side, and then we'll release this by swinging the left leg out in front to join the right, and then we'll find a wide-legged seated forward fold. If you know me, you know this is my favorite stretch in the world. Take some time shifting the weight. And I love these dynamic movements at the beginning of longer holds. So I'm just going to shift the weight to fold over my left leg and then fold over my right leg, and just continuing the cycle. Getting my body ready to hold each one of these for a little longer, but first just fostering some availability, observing, seeing where I'm moving in space. And then we'll hold. So fold over your right leg. Option 2, just fold directly over the right leg. Option to bring a side body stretch into this by reaching the left hand overhead and twisting the left side body up to the sky. Maybe reaching left hand over toward the right foot. Wherever you're at, just taking a handful of deep breaths into this opening sensation. We'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release and come back up through center. We're going to rotate into half pigeon on the left leg, and then when we come back up, we'll do the side body stretch on the other side. So rotate the right leg out behind you, bend your left knee, and bring the left shin up toward the top of the mat. Again, you can find more of a deer pose or 90-90 by keeping a bend into your right leg, or you can just extend the right leg fully out behind you. Again, I'm going to put a cushion underneath my left hip. Not required, you just go where it feels the best for you. Again, we'll have a minute or a little bit more, so plenty of time to gradually advance further into this deep hip opener. Being patient here, being forgiving, listening to the body before we make any choices for it. Enough time for a few more deep breaths, so round this out however it feels best for you. And then we'll start to release out of this shape. I'll place my cushion off to the side, and then we'll rotate the right leg back out in front of us and come into another wide-legged forward fold. taking just a quick moment to shift the weight around. And then as you're ready, we'll fold over the left leg. Again, you're welcome to just make this a deep fold with both shoulders squaring off toward the mat. Or you're welcome to become longer in the right side body, maybe reaching the right hand up and over for a twist. Go wherever you'd like. Go where it feels nice. Just breathe deeply into the experience. Not judging the result, simply being here. We'll just be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift back up through center. Sit up nice and tall. Tuck the tailbone, lift the chest. And then we'll fold forward down the middle. You can rest your forearms or head down on anything you want. Allow the body to settle. Regardless of how deep your fold is, as long as you can feel a stretch, that's the only thing that matters. Take one more deep breath in, and a deep breath out. Start to sit up nice and tall. Bring the legs closer together, and then cross the legs. Think Sukhasana. Sit up tall again. And then we'll just find a fold over the legs. Just a few deep breaths here. And start to lift up. Extend the legs out in front of you. And then fall onto your back completely. Find a Supta Baddha Konasana, feet together, knees out wide. Rest the hands on the heart and belly or on the pointy hip bones. Allow the back body to settle deep into the mat. Notice the inhales and exhales. Notice if you're able to control or deepen the breath a little bit more than when we started the practice. Release the legs out in front of you, nice and long. Release the hands to rest by your sides. Let everything become heavy as the eyes close. Breathing in and out through your nose. Feel your stability. Feel your love. Yogis, this is where I will leave you for today. You're welcome to linger in this Shavasana, this resting pose, for as long as you'd like to. You're also welcome to continue your practice on your mat however you'd like to. Either way, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I hope we're able to meet soon on or off the mat, on or off the YouTube screen. Until next time, peace and love.